All right, guys, welcome back. Boots Go in Pairs. We are thawing out. The off season is almost over. Pitchers and catchers report soon-ish, couple weeks here. I think I heard like 27 days till the Brewers full team. Again, I'm listening to Brewers radio because I have to sometimes. But we're close to spring training. We're getting ready to kind of talk about these off-season moves. The rosters aren't fully set, but they're pretty close. You have a good idea of what direction the teams are headed in. And the Cubs have made some moves. Biggest move by far so far this offseason. He's already getting integrated into the Chicago sports scene. Alex Bregman, a
Hmm.
move we were calling for 365 days ago when he signed with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little bit of, for us, robbing Peter to pay Paul because you're losing him on the Red Sox and gaining him on the Cubs. But I think for the Cubs, it makes so much sense. They have one of the best infields defensively now in baseball, without a question. You needed to upgrade that third base. Matt Shaw bat wasn't great last year. And you also lose Kyle Tucker, which we knew was happening. You need to replace some of those hits, some of those homers, some of those spots in the lineup. So before we go to the rest of the Cubs moves, how do you feel about Alex Bregman being here?
It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And I mean, if you watch him play, just the epitome of professional, um, makes everybody better around him, and especially like younger teams. And I mean, you think about the Red Sox being a team that was scratching 500 3 years in a row, and they made this leap, um, fully integrated with everybody they had going on. And the Red Sox had a mixture of veterans, very young players who are getting a shot. Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, like those guys. Um, he just instantly made everybody better, a better player, a better defensive player, better offensive player. Really made his mark, and you could see that it was a shame that he was hurt for a period of time, because I think if he hadn't have gotten hurt, could have had a lot better of a numbers season. But the Red Sox were excellent. They made the playoffs for the first time in a while. So that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, I was kind of expecting an opt out. I know he was getting a pretty nice yearly wage, but I know he wanted that long term. I think he was getting 40 a year for 3 years, with now this 5 year 175. A little bit of security, a lot of money, not the same yearly rate, but a lot of money. Place where he can really put down some roots. He's got young kids. Him and his wife have two young kids. But yeah, fully integrating into this, and I actually saw this cool. I know you've been on a little bit of a social media hiatus, but um, they sat down with Jed, and they were just talking about Bregman and his process, and just how he's asking for everybody's plan. Like, he wants to know what people are working on. He wants to know how he can help. He's sitting down with minor league coaches. He really is invested in this organization, and I don't know, it just goes to show, like coming from a class act organization like Houston, they really were able to kind of develop him and turn him into the player he is. Obviously, some of it's internal as well, but it's cool to see this. And this is the, like, when I was talking about like a battleship, like Alex Bregman's a battleship. He
Yeah.
can sink people with his defense, with his offense, and he's only going to make this team that much better.
Yeah, he's the anti Anthony Rendon, right? He loves baseball. He loves hitting. He said he's already been at Wrigley hitting. He was in for Cubs convention, so I did see enough of the interviews from Jed from that, glowing when they introduced him with his jersey, all that stuff. So he's a player they've been after for a long time. He's a winner. I think this is also a little bit of admitting that Matt Shaw isn't the guy, and he had a great defensive third base season last year for a guy who had never played third base, right? So I think that was a question mark. That wasn't the problem. It's the hit tool. Alex Bregman is just a much better hitter. He's got World Series pedigree, playoff pedigree. Um, Matt Shaw is going to be in the super utility role because also dissuading the rumors that Nico Horner's going anywhere. I know there's still a chance. I don't see that. I don't know why you assemble this infield that's one of the best I've ever seen and then blow it up with your best contact hitter. I don't understand that. So,
Right. And the Cubs have money to spend.
yeah,
Nico's the estimated contract is 5 years, 90 million. To me,
give it. Yeah.
for a guy like him, he's only gonna get better.
Yep.
Um, and he had for a non-power hitter, he had one of the best overall seasons
Yep.
ever by a
Yep.
second baseman. Just by everything he was able to do, he's the engine that keeps you rolling. Letting him go, trading him, you'd get a lot, but is it worth it? Are you going to be able to replace him?
No.
Matt Shaw will be fine no matter where he ends up playing. Everybody's going to, like, Bregman's going to need a day off. Dansby's going to need a day off.
Well,
Nico's going to need a day off. Like,
here,
I think Shaw could even play first base if
here's
Michael Busch needs a day off.
well, yeah, and you have Tyler Austin, right? Tyler Austin, is that his name?
Yep.
I guess he's your backup first baseman, but you're saying guys need days off because Craig likes to give his veterans day off, and I think Bregman will DH a little bit. However, listening to him talk, radio interviews, stuff like that, he's like, he goes, I don't know if Craig will let me. He goes, but I want to play every day, and I want to play the field every day. He's not ancient. He's not 36. He's not 37. He's 31, 32. Dansby plays every day. You have to force Dansby to take a day off. Nico took some days off early because he was covering from his shoulder, but he's a guy who plays every day. Matt
Right.
Shaw has bought an outfield glove, or I don't know if you buy them at this level. I think he is going to see the most time being super utility. I don't think they're as worried about his development at this point because play at the major league level at this point, right? You're no longer a prospect. So I think you're going to see Matt Shaw a little bit everywhere. Hopefully there's no injuries, but then you have a guy to replace. But I like it as the backup plan for 2026 and not the main plan like it was in 2025 where you're going into the year. I remember I have notes from like, who's playing third, and like I guess we're going with Matt Shaw, but like we were like, wouldn't Alex Bregman be really nice on this team? And I think
Yeah.
last year he would have been, especially if you had Tucker and Bregman coming over. You know, that's just one of those
It
moves.
just it's all the what ifs, man. Because again, like Bregman is a name that we have. You're right. We have been asking for it, calling. It makes too much sense several times. But I'm glad that they landed him now. I'm still a little bit. I don't know about like right field. I really hope Seiya is not our right fielder. I
And if we
really
can,
that scares me. That's the only thing that scares me. That and then not having a legitimate closer.
yeah.
If we're calling if Palencia is the guy, I don't feel good about it. I like him as a reliever. I don't like him as a closer. There were several high leverage, solid relievers available who didn't get an arm and a leg, in my opinion.
So
For them to not pursue any of those options and to have Palencia stay in that role, like that's another thing that's a little makes me a little bit uneasy. I like a lot of the relievers they did sign.
yeah.
I'm encouraged by them, but like not going after that high leverage closer role reliever like that's kind of scary too.
So two huge points within your statement there. I agree, 100%. Seiya Suzuki is not a right fielder. He can play right field, and he had to because Tucker was injured going into the playoffs last year. But you're still a move away with your starting nine. I agree again with your closer because last year, who's closing out games for you in the playoffs versus the Brewers? Brad Keller, who had never
Right.
closed a game out in his career, is closing games out for you. So the bullpen is volatile. I think they did a ton of work. Again, not really the most familiar names, but you know what? It's a crapshoot every year. You're just who's going to succeed, who's going to do well for you. Again, 2 years ago it was Tyson Miller, and then he was DFA'd within the next year. So like, you know, we'll see how that pans out. I think they are going to roll with Palencia and see what they have. That's a
Right.
deadline situation too, where you can get a guy for cheaper. But the outfield, as we were kind of sitting in this spot last year, where they hadn't made any moves, and we're like, what are they doing? I think you might see a trade here in the next month before the season starts. I think you might
Right.
you because I don't think they must be seeing it the same way we because like they know Seiya Suzuki's limitations and they can't sit there and go, oh yeah, our best team right now is Seiya Suzuki in right field.
Right. The only thing I can think of is that they are much higher on Kevin Alcantara than they were on Casey.
They
That's the
must be.
only thing I can think of is that they might be putting their eggs somewhat in that basket for right field. And
Maybe.
maybe you just give the kid a chance and see what happens. I don't know. If he's your weak point, if that position is like offensively, if that's the only weakness on the field, I'm okay with that. Um,
Well, Kevin
does that?
Alcantara is not a slouch defensively. We know that.
No,
It's just can he hit at the major league level? I think that's been the only question
right,
mark. But has he been given a shot? I can't say he
not
has.
really.
And this is an old Brian Talbotism, but and he used it differently than this. But April and May are really used to figure out how your team looks, and so is spring training to a certain degree. But and David Ross used to get criticized for like these games aren't as important. I know all the games are important, but you also use April and May to figure out if you can ride with this team or you can't. Do I need to make trades? Do we need to make moves? Do we need to call someone up, send someone down, whatever? So give Kevin Alcantara April at least. If he's not hitting, if he's hit a buck 30, okay, yeah, we got to do something else. But that might be the way you go. I'm also just hesitant because Jed's been really quiet as a GM, and he makes moves sneaky, and we can say that now because
Yeah,
of last year. Um,
right,
and he also has shown he's not afraid to trade some of his prospects, which I agree with wholeheartedly because prospects are just
right,
that, prospects.
right, right. And I mean, you trade your number one overall prospect, the guy who a lot of us thought was going to be the starting right fielder this year and moving forward, Owen Casey. He's the centerpiece to landing your staff ace, Edward Cabrera, who is a phenomenal talent. I really hope that he can stay healthy because they really need him to, but he has got electric stuff. Um, Being able to put him in, I mean, the Cubs, when it comes to their starting pitching staff, man, I mean, they're probably six deep. You'll get Steele back probably around May or June. But
Is he not
having
slated to come
Cabrera,
back right away?
what's
Is he
that?
not? He's throwing off a mound already.
I think so.
Yeah,
He will not be ready for opening day. I'm positive
that's
about
okay.
that. But I mean, you have Cabrera, you have Steele, you have Tyone, you have Boyd, Shota re-upped, so you have him, you have Javier Assad still. I mean, some of these guys will probably be making their way to the bullpen. My guess, you can only start five, obviously, but
Yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty encouraged by their
Colin
starting
Ray.
staff. They can kind of pick and true what's and Colin Ray as well. Colin Ray's another one. So,
Well,
um, yeah, I mean, and even with the bullpen too. I mean, Hunter Harvey and Phil Maton are solid names. That's
yeah,
really really encouraging. They're two good pitchers. But like I said, the Ryan Helsleys, the Edwin Diaz, Pete Fairbanks, like
yeah.
the Marlins got him for barely anything. I would have taken a flyer on him at the very least, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I think they'll probably just like you were saying, assessing in April and May and kind of seeing where things go, giving Palencia the shot and see how he handles it.
I think you find a way to win in the regular season, mid months. The closer is not going to kill you in those
Right.
games. It's end of season, postseason. That's when you need a bona fide closer. Shut the door. That's when they're going to need that. And I would be hard pressed on if Palencia is not perform. I mean, again, he throws hard, but
He does.
is his stuff going to translate? Can he take that leap to be an elite closer? I'm not sure. Um, as far as rotation, I agree. I mean, if they're deep right now, cool. We lost Justin Steele a couple starts into last year, or was it first? It was really early, so
Yeah.
automatically you're down to five, and then Shota was not a factor. And the
No.
second half of the season, all of a sudden those fly balls were leaving the yard. He was horrible in the postseason, and you're
Yeah.
almost hoping. And I won't say because he's been really good for these two. Well, I'd say a year and a half. He's been really good. But you're almost sitting there after the postseason's over. It's like I hope he doesn't re-sign here. right? Like I hope he
Right.
doesn't take that qualifying offer, but he kind of backed himself into it. So you
Right. And
need as
Matthew
many.
Boyd ran out of gas. Matthew
Yeah,
Boyd had an excellent year, probably his best year as a pro. He
yeah.
ran out of gas. I give
I
him
expect
all the
regression.
credit in the world. He was unbelievable.
Yeah,
But yeah, I definitely expect regression.
yeah,
So you need Steele to come back strong. We need Cabrera to be really solid. We need Tyone to
yeah.
continue to pitch really well. And I mean, maybe they make, depending on how things shake out, maybe they make a deal for a starter. I mean, they have pieces.
I
So
know Gallon is still on the table. It's been like,
Gallon is
and you know
Gallon would
what?
be really nice.
They're in a spot where you can sign a guy like Zach Gallen and not expect him to be your ace and be pleasantly surprised. The only thing with the Edward Cabrera deal, and I don't know what the holdup was at the trade deadline, but it seemed like, and again, maybe they saw more of Owen Casey and were like, hey, I think we've seen enough to move on from him. But you essentially were not willing to make that deal at the trade deadline,
Right.
and you needed starting pitching, and it
Hmm.
showed in Milwaukee. And I don't know if they get you
Right.
past the Dodgers, but at least get you past the Brewers. Um, Again, I know situations change, but if this was the same trade that they offered at the trade deadline and they didn't pull the trigger,
Right.
it's frustrating. But they at least made it now. It's a new season though, so we'll see what that brings. But I like the move. I don't mind trading a prospect. He wasn't,
Yeah.
top 10 in baseball. He was top in the farm system, but the Cubs farm
Right.
system isn't great. So, um,
Right.
yeah, if you're gonna move on, you need major league ready players, and if they're not ready, then you need to go get them. You're not the Brewers. You're not in these sit and wait situations. You're not playing for 20 years from now. You're playing for now. So
Right. And the kid they took last year, as well as a corner outfielder, so maybe they think a lot of him coming up too. So that's another option
yeah,
as well.
yeah. Although now we're also removed from the Kyle Tucker deal with nothing, and the Astros still have Cam Smith. So
They
we'll see
do,
how that
and he's
turns
doing
out.
well in right field.
He had a good year. He didn't have a great year offensively, but again, he's
He was
20.
also 21 years old.
Yeah, he's young. He's his first full MLB season at 1 year removed from college. But
Yeah.
yeah, so we'll see how that plays out. That'll probably go down as either a wash or definitely a Astros winning that
Major
trade.
loss.
But yeah, we may have lost that trade. All right. Well, speaking of Kyle Tucker getting $60 million a year from the Dodgers, I don't recall if any of that was deferred, but they can go
It
bankrupt
was.
later.
It was.
Of course, it was. Yeah, 60 mil per year. The Cubs were never getting to that number.
No.
Um,
Nobody else was.
Nobody else was. The Mets, I think, were like 45 or 50. They may have been willing to go. But I was listening to, it was PTI, Mike Wilbon was talking about, he's a big Cub fan, big Northwestern guy. And they asked him right after Tucker signed, he goes, what do you think of this? Should the Cubs sign him? He goes, my only thought is overrated. At $60 million, Kyle Tucker is overrated. And that I can get on board with. He's never hit more than 30 homers. He's never finished in the top 5 for MVP. He's been injury prone the last couple of years. He's a special bat. He is. He's a Gold Glove caliber outfielder. But $60 million to me per year with an unknown cap situation coming up, Cubs weren't getting there, and I don't blame them.
Right. Yeah. And he just didn't really show, and I know it's just how he is, but he's not a fiery guy. He's very relaxed, and like that kind of money, like I'm looking for a leader, I'm looking for a fiery guy to get my guys going. He just didn't seem interested. He's more laid back. Like that's not what the Cubs, what they needed. He was not the guy who, like, I feel like when he was really turning it on, like in June, right before he got hurt, it's like, man, every time this guy steps to the plate, you think that something amazing is going to happen. I know the injury didn't really help him. He never really recovered from it, but like, just got to show some fire at least. If you're struggling, show some fire, and he just
Yeah.
didn't.
If he's not that guy, that's okay. But when the Astros were winning, and you have that mix, he was probably the quiet guy, just smacking homers. Um,
Right.
and yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily like that's the guy the Cubs. Maybe they have that. Maybe they just have a bunch of guys because like, you look at it like Dansby's not showing a lot of emotion. Nico's not showing a lot of emotion. I don't really know on the Cubs who is showing. PCA shows a lot of emotion. Um,
Nico shows emotion. Nico gets fired up.
he got
He gets
tossed.
pretty fired up.
He got tossed out of a game last year for telling the umpire he's having a bad day. I don't think he's
Right.
that kind of like he's pretty level-headed. Not
Well,
to,
he's level-headed,
yeah,
but like he shows fire. Like Pete
sure,
Crow,
sure,
like he's definitely level-headed. Like Pete Crow Armstrong is very emotional,
yes,
and like you see it whether he's when he's succeeding and he's failing. Like I
yeah,
wish he was a little bit more level, but he's young and he'll learn.
yeah,
But like Nico, like what I mean is that like he's got fire. Like when
yeah,
he makes a big play, he'll scream. Like when he
yeah, oh
has
yeah,
a
yeah.
big hit, or he's not like Tucker. No matter if he struck out or hit a walk off grand slam, it was the same emotion, which is
Well,
fine.
yeah,
But yeah, I
it's
mean, I'm just looking for some fire out of my leader.
to your point. It's fine until he's in a O for whatever slump, and you're like, what's wrong with this guy? So yeah, yeah, you know what? And we'll see. The 2026 Cubs will be a different team. Obviously, he made a difference in the Cubs lineup. Will he make a difference in the Dodgers lineup? I don't know. Um,
Right.
the Dodgers, again, it's for all this money they're spending. They're also a little bit of an aging team. You now have Freddie Freeman, who's 36, maybe turning 37. Mookie Betts took a step back last year. So even though they won the World Series again, and you have Shohei Ohtani, and you have all these things, they're definitely a roster that has older players now. And
Right.
at some point, again, we'll talk lockout eventually, but like at some point, things are going to come to a head, and they're not just going to be allowed to spend and spend and spend. Like, I'm not saying limit contract size, but like at some point, there's a limit, right? Is there?
Right.
Is there?
But they but
Maybe
like
not
they do spend, but they also draft and develop so well.
to
Like
trade.
they can get anybody they want with their farm system. Like they're
Yeah.
loaded. They have like their young guys that they've developed. They got the young guys coming up, and then you have all these like their pitching staff, man. They have Blake Snell. They have
Yeah.
Tyler Glass now. Uh, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Roki Sasaki, like they're six deep, and like I
Mm-hmm.
don't even like they're just ridiculous. And then they go out like the bullpen was the problem during their run, which it really wasn't that much of a problem. I know they had some key injuries to relievers, like at the end of the year, like Tanner Scott pitched like garbage, but they go out and they sign Edwin Diaz,
Yeah.
3 year, $69 million deal. Like he declines his option with the Mets and goes right to LA. And it's like, all right, well, now you have one of the best closers in baseball too. So it's like, where's their weakness? But yeah, eventually, like they are going to age out. Like they have their Teoscar's old, or older, not old, but he's older. Yeah, Freddie, Mookie's getting older. I don't know how many more seasons Max Muncy can run into. Like they just, it's just
Yeah.
a lot of stuff, man. And then yeah, Tucker and I think Pajes is playing center. Will Smith is still a younger guy, but
Yeah.
yeah, eventually they're gonna
Well, and I know we broke it down end of last year, but like if you don't have Miguel Rojas on your roster, you don't win, which is and that's
right,
why baseball's so crazy. And again, I get and I'm in Milwaukee, so I have that. I hear their complaints all the time. Oh, yeah, we're just never going to beat the Dodgers, but like you can do it, like because it's baseball and baseball's goofy. So like these are possibilities. You just got to get there and have the opportunity. But yeah, I think things will come to a head at some point, and it'll.
right,
I think the lockout and or restructuring of the luxury tax even will help level the playing field a little bit, and that's what you need with these contracts and deals. But
yeah,
we'll move on to some other deals. We'll get to that stuff later. The Mets are also a team that spent a lot of money. Um,
yeah,
they're also very confusing. I know we've highlighted the Padres, for like having like 8 of their 9 starters played shortstop at one point. Well, the Mets are doing something else. They are acquiring major league level second basemen.
right,
They have signed so far this year Jorge Polanco, which I've heard to play first base. He's never
yeah,
played a game there in his career, but apparently that you have acquired Marcus Semien, who could
right.
be a DH, but he is a major league second baseman. And
And a
then
Gold
you've also
Glove second
acquired,
baseman at that.
yeah, and you've acquired now Bo Bichette, who most likely will be a second baseman. So,
Right.
and you have Francisco Lindor, who is one of the better shortstops in the. So you're not going to play, and you have Mark Vientos at third base, which
Right.
that's probably the odd name out, but at the same time, you have a lot of second basemen.
Right.
What are the Mets doing over
Right.
there
I
with that?
mean,
It's just interesting.
I think the big thing with all these guys that you just mentioned, like they got them mostly for their bat.
Yeah,
Um, I would say like Bichette, I think the goal is to maybe have him play third, but I don't think that's going to work out because he kind of struggled at short. Third is
it's
harder
hard.
in some respects.
It's incredibly difficult.
Semyon, the Semyon deal is very strange because like I heard that him and Corey Seager had a really toxic relationship. So I think Texas was looking to unload him. So they traded Brandon Nimmo for him. But yeah, I think it's just about it's a hitting type deal. Like that's why they made the moves for the bats. But then I mean adding to go to another tangent, like landing Freddie Peralta when he was not going to sign with the Brewers, like that was not happening.
No.
They were able to. I mean, they gave away two of their best prospects, but Freddie is anchoring a loaded staff. I mean, you got him, the young kid Nolan McLean is excellent. Uh, Shanga hopefully will stay healthy. You got DP Dylan Peterson, another probably having another solid type year. Shamanaya, Clay Holmes. I mean, they have a lot of, and then the other kid, Jonah Tong, will probably be up as well. So, I
Well,
mean, they got a lot of starters.
they do, but also to your point with the Cubs from before is they didn't have a full complement last season. So getting as
Right,
many arms as possible. Yeah, the Freddie Peralta thing. Yeah, the Brewers weren't going to sign him. I thought they were at least going to tr- see how the season would go and then maybe move at the deadline or something so they get nothing. But that's
right,
not been their mo. They do
right,
not
and
wait. They get as much as they can for players until
they
they get.
got two very Brandon Sproat and Jet Williams are very good players. You got a
Yeah.
right-handed pitcher and a young.
Well,
I mean, Jet Williams plays middle infield and outfield.
they
So
got
I mean, those are another nice couple young players.
they got two players that the Mets were never planning on using. That's how I look at it. Because they
Right,
could be great prospects. The Mets aren't same as and the Cubs shouldn't be. The Mets are not interested in playing their prospects. They are interested in major league ready talent and winning the World Series. That is what they're trying to do.
right,
So yeah, maybe their scouting said, hey, we're just going to get the best hitters available, and they just happen to all play second base, and then
right,
they'll figure out in spring training who to
right.
play first.
And then
Um,
they also added Mr. Airbender, Devin Williams too. So I mean, that's another.
I don't
Is
I don't like that
is
personally.
Tobias was Tobias Myers a starter or a reliever for Milwaukee? Because he
Both.
was in the
He
Peralta
was a
trade
swing.
too.
He was a swing. 2 years ago, he was
He's
a
pretty good.
starter. Last year, he was a swing. Yeah, he's fine.
He's
I
solid.
to go to the Devin Williams thing. He struggled last year, and
Well,
part
they
of it
gave him $50
was
million dollars,
they did, but he
3 years, 50 mil.
well the GM for the Mets used to be the GM of the Brewers, so he's kind of just reassembling the troops here. But Devin Williams, when your changeup isn't that special anymore, or people know it's not going to be a strike, it's really easy to hit that fastball you have. So he struggled in New York already with the Yankees. I don't know if going across town, he's got to figure something out. I don't think Met fans
Right,
are any less ruthless than Yankee fans are. So that'll
right.
be
Well,
interesting.
they're paying him like a closer, so he's got to figure
Well,
something
yeah,
out.
yeah, he should be a closer, but will he? Again, I'm just not like I wasn't like, oh yeah, Cubs go get Devin Williams. For
Right.
me, he got way too much money. But yeah, hopefully he closes games. I think he's a step down from Edwin Diaz for sure.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but we'll
Well,
see how that goes.
they didn't have a choice in that. Diaz declined his option. He
Yeah,
decided to become a free agent, and yeah, I mean, good for Devin Williams
yeah.
making a bag, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Yep,
Steve Cohen likes to spend money too,
he
so I
does.
mean, he did.
He does. But he could not spend enough to keep Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso is now a Baltimore Oriole. I like that for them. Um,
Right,
they have a little bit of a cluster now at first base, but that's a good problem to have. You can never have
right,
too many power bats. They also, the Mets are losing a really good gold glove quality first baseman.
yeah,
And Pete Alonso's been, like, he struggled maybe 3 or 4 years ago. His numbers were down, but the last 2 years, he's been phenomenal. Um,
right,
so, again, maybe the Mets are trying to recreate that in the aggregate. Baltimore got significantly better by adding him to the mix. We'll see if
right.
they have so much talent.
They
Last year
do.
was so confusing for them. They're a good team. They just had a
Right.
down year.
Right. Down year in a tough division, and Pete definitely helps. It's like you got Jackson Holiday getting another year under his belt, Gunnar Henderson getting another year under his belt, Adley Rushman's still there, Jordan Westberg's a really good third baseman. They're pretty solid in the outfield as well. I mean, they still have some young talent. They have this kid Sam Basallo or Basayo. I don't know how you pronounce it, but he's a catcher. But he's got a great bat, young kid, major league ready bat. He's solid, and they also added Ryan Helsley, so he'll be closing out games. I think Batista, I don't know if he's hurt or if he's just going to be setting up, but I don't think you get Ryan Helsley to not close games.
No.
I think their success will be driven by whether or not their starting pitching can keep it together. I mean,
Starting pitching, and
when they're
also I was very wrong on this prediction multiple times last year, but um, Adley Rushman needs to be the centerpiece of your lineup. He needs to be playing games, and he needs to be really productive, and he hasn't been that
right,
the
he is
last
not.
year and a
The
half.
bat has been he's starting to give me Matt Wieters vibes. Like
Ooh,
somebody who's supposed to be the guy. First couple years in the league did really well,
yeah,
and then he just fell off. Like this is supposed to be a guy who is, like you said, the centerpiece.
yeah,
Like you're scared of this guy. Like I'm thinking like Joe Mauer, like
yeah.
Brian McCann. Like that's how Wieters was supposed to be. That's how Rushman is supposed to be. But yeah, I mean we have not seen it from Adley the last couple of years, especially with the bat, and that's really concerning. I mean he
It's
dropping off like that is very very crazy.
catching takes such a toll on your body. It's hard to stay healthy. So there's a lot that goes into it. You can't just be like, oh yeah, he's just not hitting anymore. It's like the guy's getting destroyed behind the plate. But that's why it's so difficult to build your team around a catcher,
Right.
especially one that you rely on so heavily for offense. Joe Mauer was one of the few of our generation to do it like that. Buster Posey was another one. But these guys also started playing first base with DH, when that was applicable. So um, you you gotta find creative ways. But also, if Adley Rushman's not hitting, you don't really want to DH him when he's not in there for catch. So it's that
Right.
fine balance. Again, I'm not a huge Orioles fan, but I know they have so much talent, and they were knocking on the
Right.
door um, a few years ago, and so it'll just be interesting to see if they can reclaim that by getting a guy like Pete Alonso.
Right. They did trade for Taylor Ward as well. They traded Grayson Rodriguez, which was crazy. I mean, that was a former number 2 overall prospect, but like a top 10 in baseball, I believe, like your top young arm.
Yeah,
They must have seen something that they didn't like when it came to his injury history. But adding Ward, that's a good bat. I think they still have Mountcastle as well.
they
I
do.
O'Haron was a free agent and signed with Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Had got a nice little two-year deal, but yeah, I mean, it's just the East is just tough though.
yeah.
But I think that that Baltimore has put themselves in a better situation than like the Yankees have. Like the Yankees didn't really get better. I think they're just trying to run it back with the same team.
Yeah.
Haven't gotten significantly better. Haven't really made any moves outside of Bellinger. So to
Well,
me, the Yankees look like a fourth place team because even Tampa added some guys.
to your point, yeah, they when you bring back guys like Bellinger, and there was a minute there where the Cubs hadn't signed anybody yet, and they were like rumoring that, oh, maybe they'll get Bellinger, and it's like, well, if they go after Bellinger, you're going to be in the same spot you were 2 years ago, which
Right.
wasn't still a good team. So, but yeah, the Yankees, yeah, have they added anybody else besides Bellinger? I don't. They
I
Trent
think
Gresham re-signed. That was the other one.
right.
But yeah, Bellinger.
Bellinger's the only significant move I have on my list.
Yeah, and
For
I
that's a lot too. 5 years, 162.
yeah I mean yeah, I would say Gresham signed his arbitration deal or whatever it was. They're not a better team. Does Aaron Judge stay healthy? Like he's had two really good seasons in a row, but he's always been a candidate for can he stay healthy? Just because look at the size of the guy's feet. Like it's hard to keep those feet healthy. Like
Right.
it's hard to keep
So
those legs healthy.
your lineup is so I don't even know who's playing first. Is it Ben Rice?
Yeah, Goldschmidt's gone, right?
Goldschmidt's
Or no, yeah,
gone. So
he was. Yeah,
then you got Jazz and Volpe and who's at third? I mean Bellinger, Gresham, Giancarlo Stanton. Like this team's not scary.
yeah. It's. I mean, I will never predict the Yankees to finish last place, but if the Orioles improve, you're right. I think the way they line up today and moves can be made. We're
Right.
not at spring training yet, but um, yeah, the Bellinger move. Um, yeah, I mean the Yankees, did they even advance in the playoffs last year?
No,
Or they beat the Red Sox right in the wild card round or something like whatever it was. I mean, yeah,
they were a non-factor.
yeah. I don't again I don't like the Yankees, so I don't have to. But like the move to just bring Bellinger back is not very Yankee like.
No.
And again, the Dodgers are kind of taking that role, but
I
um,
know the Martian is in left for them. I'm just gonna see if I could find their depth chart.
yeah. And then to your point, Toronto, even though they've lost Bo Bichette, Toronto is making moves to get better. They've added Dylan Cease. That was a name that Cubs were rumored to. I know his postseason success hasn't been amazing, but he's a high strikeout guy. So yeah, you're behind Toronto, I think, still because they're coming off their World Series high. Um, but there, to that point though, there's also a lot of what ifs because can Toronto repeat that success? Can the Rays bottle that energy that they get once in a while? Can the Orioles
Yeah,
succeed? I don't know. And the Red Sox haven't gotten much better. The East has gotten more competitive, I would say, but it's more because the Yankees and Red Sox have kind of slid back this offseason.
I have the Red Sox slid back. I don't think so.
Who's playing third? Marcelo Meyer?
Marcelo is playing third. I need to find the Yankees depth chart before I talk about the Red Sox.
Because
Yeah, and not to mention all these arms they signed. Like their starting staff is so deep.
I like their pitching staff. I like Ranger Suarez. I think they did a good job there. I think you just
Like
have
Suarez, Sonny Gray, Oviedo, and then you add Crochet and Bayo, Cutter Crawford, um, the two kids, Connolly Early and Peyton Tolley. Like they're both very solid. So it's like those guys are knocking on the door, and they're not even going to have a spot.
you can never have too many arms. I will always, because you don't know who's going to pitch well, especially in a new ballpark. Sonny Gray, I don't know,
Oh,
maybe.
Ryan McMahon is the third baseman.
Ryan McMahon, don't like that. Don't like that. Well, again, I think the East is
Yeah,
primed to be very competitive. Um, we'll see where that goes. Yeah, I'm not entirely sold on any team's direction. We'll say, but yeah, I mean, Red Sox. We can shift there for a minute. Marcelo Meyer didn't finish the year. To me, I don't know. I watched enough of him last year in Worcester, but it's similar to the Matt Shaw situation. You just hand in the keys over to him and say, take the job, maybe. But
right.
I don't think that's a solid lineup though. Christian Campbell had a whole he there was a ranking someone did, and again, I don't know what the basis was. He was the worst rated second baseman in baseball last year. And if he would have
Yeah,
continued to
I
play,
don't think Campbell's even on the roster.
no.
I mean, I think they're gonna roll with Romy Gonzalez, but like they traded for Wilson Contreras. He's gonna play first base. Trevor Story, hopefully will stay healthy again. He's at short. And then your outfield, I mean, you got Abreu, Roman Anthony, Jaron Duran, Ceddanne Rafaela. Like there's this is, and then you also have Macha Yoshida as well. From their starting staff, I forgot that they have Kyle Harrison too, and they have Patrick Sandoval who didn't pitch last year. So the Red Sox are very deep everywhere. And
Well,
aside from second base, I think they got it figured out. I mean,
potential, sure. What's your confidence level though they're competing for a World Series this year?
I don't think World Series, but
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
saying playoffs again. I'm definitely saying playoffs again.
I
And
maybe just because there's a lot of wild cards, but this is a tough division. I think you're gonna have to earn it, and it might be a grind to get that to that point. And if things start going sideways, let's say not everyone has the Brewers' luck where every single prospect they trot out there just has a career year. Um, you haven't built a roster that's ready for that.
right.
Is my point.
I just think there are players who I think are going to step forward. I think if Roman Anthony gets a full opportunity to show what he can do, and if to me their offense goes through Trevor Story. If Trevor Story is not healthy, then they're probably going to flounder. I don't think they have enough. He's like the veteran presence that keeps him going. Like if he gets hurt, if he doesn't have a good year, that's how that's going to be. But for me, like the pitching, the reliever, the starting pitching, the relievers, if your number five starter is Brian Bale, you're in a really good spot. You're in a better spot than most teams. I can't
Yeah.
think of any team in Major League Baseball aside from the Dodgers who have a more complete starting rotation than the Red Sox do right now.
Yeah, I think they're building for the future too, but again, that doesn't win you a World Series this year, and
Right. I
there's no
mean, like
guarantees.
Harrison, Tolley, and Early are all very, very young. They're all, I think, 24 or younger. But yeah, I mean, Crochet and Suarez and Sonny Gray and all those guys. I mean, they're just really, really solid pitchers, and I think they do have what it takes.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, anyone else on your list of noteworthy free agents? That was my list.
Yeah, I two teams that sort of I would maybe even three teams. I'm just a little bit confused by. So like the Rangers are very
Mm,
confusing. So they that West was open for a while, and I thought the Rangers were going to creep back in, but they just couldn't stay healthy enough. But I just don't know what's going on. Like since they won the World Series, they like have fallen off a cliff. Like
yeah.
first, like I heard the story about Seager and Semien beefing. Like that was weird. You trade five prospects for Mackenzie Gore. Like you let Adolis Garcia walk, and he signs with Philly for 10 million for 1 year. Like I don't know, what are you going to get? Like are Josh Young and Wyatt Langford, are they going to take the next step? Evan Carter stay healthy? Like I don't. They're just a very confusing team. I don't really know. Right now, I think they have four starting pitchers on their roster. Their depth chart for their I'm like, where is that? Where are the other arms going to come in? And Gore was one of the four. I think they have Gore, Evaldi, Jack Leiter, and like one other guy. And I'm like, that's weird. I don't. I'm just confused by that. And then uh, Houston as well. Like they signed a few guys from the KBO, including Emai, who is the best. I think he was the number one um, Japanese pitcher. So they signed him. They signed another guy from the KBO who used to play in the major leagues, and then he went over to Korea and did really well. But aside from that, it looks like they're just going to run back the same offense, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I thought they would make more of a splash. I guess Houston.
Yeah. And we did it last year. We kind of wrote them off because they move on from Kyle Tucker, they move on from Bregman, and they still make a playoff push. So for an organization like that, until they start missing, like the Rangers are now kind of removed from their playoff window because they didn't even make the playoffs. So
Right.
they're a little more questionable. But yeah, the Astros, I tend to just give the benefit of the doubt until they don't.
Right.
But yeah,
And then
more
the
point.
Mariners signed Naylor, and they've done nothing else. Like I
Yeah,
don't know
well,
who's playing third for them. They
they were
come off
way back.
they were so close to being in the World Series, and
Yep.
they've done nothing aside from sign Naylor. And I mean, are you hoping that everything just kind of magically aligns again? Like Cal Raleigh has another monster year. You're hoping that your 4 or 5 headed pitching monster stays healthy and leads you back to the playoffs. Like I don't know. They're kind of confusing as well. The whole West, the whole AL West is just I don't know what's going on.
Well, and
It's
I
very
think
underwhelming and weird.
that's part of what drives because again, the East is super competitive. Maybe the West is looking around and going like, look, we can win this division. Staying where we're
Right.
at, the Mariners are going, hey, we're right there. We don't need to do much, right? But
Right.
and they have good starting pitching, and but like, yeah, if your division is kind of staying put, you just got to win that. All right, let's win the division first, get to the playoffs, see what goes from there. So I think
Right.
that checks out because like the Athletics, yeah, what are they doing? They always kind
Right.
of flounder.
And then the AL Central too, like Cleveland, aside from the J Ram thing, and
They save money on that.
yeah. Kansas City, aside from signing Michael Franco to or Michael Garcia to a 5-year extension, like the White Sox made a couple little moves, but it's like, and then the Tigers have done nothing aside from slap Scooble in the face with that atrocity of a, um, I guess an arbitration offer or whatever. They gave him 19 million. It's like that. You clearly don't want to keep him in town.
Yeah. Well, he's got one more year, but
He's got one more year, and I mean, he'll probably win his third Cy Young in a row, and then he'll go to LA or New York. Like that's probably how that'll go, unfortunately. But yeah, like those two divisions. I mean, they probably see the same thing as like you were saying with the West. It's like, well, we can win this division, and then we'll just let the chips fall where they may. We'll get hot at the right time.
yeah,
We'll catch a team, a better team on a weird day, and we'll
yeah.
take it.
Or you add it to deadline like the Mariners did last year. So that's all you can
Right,
think of is especially when baseball starts. Like a lot of these teams that don't want to spend money early will at the deadline if it warrants it for sure.
right,
So
yeah.
more to monitor. But the only other thing that's funny is the White Sox added the Japanese third baseman
Murakami, yeah,
Murakami. I wonder if when he's talking to his agent, he goes, "We're gonna go to Chicago," and he's like, "Okay, yeah, go Cubs, go!" And then they show up and they're on the south side. That's all I was thinking of. Is like, oh yeah, because this guy's supposed to be whatever. And I have also heard that he is kind of using this first contract as like testing out the major leagues. So
right.
he's
I mean,
using the White
it was like
Sox.
a 2 year, $34 million
Yeah,
contract. So
yeah,
I mean,
enticing.
nice little payday for a 23-year-old.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see him play. I mean, he's like 6'2", like 230. He's a solid dude.
yeah. We'll see what the one fan at the Cell thinks too, or the
Oh,
rink.
and Luis Roberts finally gone. He's on the Mets too.
Yeah, no one cares anymore.
I don't know how they got anything for him.
What what's the word for glass in Spanish? La Pantera de, because ice is helado, so because he's La Pantera, so I was saying La Pantera de whatever glass is. I can't think of it right now,
Yeah,
but he's the Panther made of glass.
he is.
Yeah, but yeah, and yeah, happy trails. Um,
Yeah,
and yeah, maybe he'll figure it out with the Mets. I doubt it. It's just one of those guys that just probably will never be healthy, but or maybe it's
right.
the White Sox. Maybe it's that cold weather in Chicago. So the
It
cold weather in
might
New York
be
might
maybe
do some
he
damage.
just needed to get out of Chicago.
Yep.
That's probably what it was. The wrong side.
Yep. Well, we will continue our baseball conversations. I think at least my objective for 2026 season is just to, again, talk baseball with people we like to talk baseball with, and just continue having fun and talking.
Hmm.
So again, we'll try and talk to our friends, we'll try and talk to other people, but also talk to each other.
Right,
So
for sure.
to a good championship 2026 season for the Cubs. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, for sure.
Should be a summer
And
of fun.
we got episode 1 in the books. This is our
Yeah,
first episode of the year.
yeah, and it's good to
A little
talk
bit
about
late.
good to talk about a warm weather sport when we're freezing here in the Midwest.
Right.
So until next time, Boost come in pairs. Take it easy, guys.
Peace.